everybody. It is 547, week number 6. There's a lot of things going on, so let's just jump right in. So the big theme this week is looking at ways of knowing and thinking. Um, we have 3 big modules. I'm going to go through all of those and explain those a little bit in detail today. There's a handful of different readings, so make sure that you set aside some time for that. Probably some more links than we've had previously. So lots of stuff around social emotional learning, emotional intelligence. There's an E lesson. E stands for electronic. The interface to me looks pretty dated. Like an E lesson was very much like a thing from a while back, and yet the content is still fantastic. So please click through that. If you have any tech issues with it, I strongly recommend you are using Chrome. If you're not using Google Chrome browser, this would be a good time to switch to it. Also making sure that you are up to date on the Chrome browser. If it's particularly out of date, it likely will not give you audio. So the way you would do that, don't do this now because you might leave the video, is you would click on the word Chrome in the top left corner and then About Google Chrome. Might be slightly different on a PC or other operating systems, but that's the idea. Chrome / about, I think, gets you the same thing, and will prompt you to update. You can always just open up a new tab and type in download Chrome and just force download the original or the latest version of it, not the original version. So the first module is multiple intelligences, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. So you're going to go through that, look at the kind of the framework of it, and it refers to kind of 3 stops where you're going to read through a site, a couple videos, and then a Concept to Classroom website that walks you through the multiple intelligences framework theory. You're going to see MI a bunch of times. That's multiple intelligences. So it should be pretty straightforward. You're just going to go right down the list. Next in the week 6 module is emotional intelligence. This is abbreviated EI. So the 4 parts of those is self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. And so again, you're going to do like the 4 steps. In this case, it says begin, next, now, last, and just go through all of those resources. And then the 3rd module you have for this week is intelligent behaviors and habits of mind. You're going to look at the background of intelligent behaviors and then look through the 16 habits of mind. Those are things, if this is a new thought to you, like thinking flexibly. What is it about responding with wonderment and awe? So look through those. It's a 1-page PDF. So like at kind of first glance, you're gonna look at that and go, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff. And there is, but also it's, each one of those is not like a 20-page document you need to go through. The discussion boards related to emotional intelligence, our 2nd module for the week. The prompt is emotional intelligence as important as IQ? I would challenge you to think about what things you were proud of in your school, what things you're proud of in your students. If you've been in the classroom for a long time, like when students come back, what are you excited to hear? What do they share? What do you remember? And then kind of on the flip side of that, how do we talk about what a good school is? This definitely, that's not the goal of our discussion board, but I think as you read through this, I think it's so easy to say, yes, emotional intelligence is so important. And yet, when we talk about what a good school is, almost always we talk about what did they get on the state test, right? Which doesn't measure emotional intelligence. Really doesn't look at maybe 2 of the intelligences of multiple intelligences. So as we start to talk about what schools are good, what we do in schools, what is valuable in schools, I challenge you to think about what we measure in schools and what we define as a good school. Because I think a lot of the readings you're going to read and watch and the videos and all the things and the discussion you're going to have is going to be like, yes, emotional intelligence is a critical skill. Like, I know you're going to write that, right? Like, that would be a proper response after reading through module 2. And then whatever, like in a year or 2 or 10, to be like, oh, that school's a bad school. And if someone were to say why, I know my answer would be, oh, because their test scores are blank. Only I would insert the test score instead of the word blank. I wouldn't say their test scores are blank. Or maybe I will. Wow, that's a great school. Their test scores are blank, because test scores aren't the only measure of what a good school is. So I think being able to tell your story, if you think back to 501, when you were doing the social media, and for some of you, I know that was new and kind of weird, and like, why do I do this? I think that, who is that? I think it's Joe Sanfilippo, who's a superintendent somewhere where it's cold, maybe in Wisconsin. Um, and he's gotten really popular and kind of edu-famous for just sharing what his teachers are doing, what his administrators are doing, what his students are doing. And his big thing is, if you don't tell your story, someone else will. And I think that that could be an answer to kind of my prompting just now in this video for you, is that, if we value emotional intelligence, and I think we should as educators, how do we tell that story? How do we show emotional intelligence is important, therefore we teach it, and we share it, so that when our communities see all that posting, they go, wow, this is a great school because they teach emotional intelligence. They teach habits of mind. Look at these projects. Wow, did you even know about multiple intelligences? I didn't until I saw that post by our superintendent, by our teacher, by our principal, by insert who what your role is or what it might be one day, right? So it's prioritizing what you feel is important based on the learnings in this program. It's implementing that into your schools, and then it's telling that story, so that when we talk about what is a good school, we have those answers. We have told that story. See how I just connected 547 to 501? That was good stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, just take like a moment and like kind of let that marinate. I'm going to wrap this up by talking about what I just did. We had our school talent show, and my goodness, was it different. So different this year because, there's a global pandemic. So we're in person. We've been in person since October, as you likely remember. And we can't have large gatherings. Not only is it super unsafe to do so, we're not allowed by our county to have large gatherings. So we can't have our all school talent show. Even if we could, we have enough remote learners that have opted into remote learning that it would not be inclusive. So for many, many reasons, we had a Zoom webinar talent show. Students submitted videos 12 days ago now, and then our middle school student council, keep in mind we're a K-8 school, our middle school student council organized all of those. They used a Google form to collect. So I worked with them to kind of set up the whole framework so that today went successful, and it did. Like a headache from the stress because middle school students ran it. Oh my gosh. But it was amazing, right? So they wrote out the script, they collected the videos, organized the videos, edited the videos, put them into, I think it was like 80 acts, all about a minute long. No less than that, it was like 60. Doesn't matter to the story really. Edited them into 9 different segments, welcomed everybody, like cameras on, and on a webinar, like you have the attendees and the panelists. So our middle school student council were the panelists. They like turn their camera on, then they're live, and they introduce the thing, and then we watch 5 minutes of video. Hey, that was so great, blah, blah, blah. Here's a joke. Here's a stretch. 5 more minutes of video. They ran the whole thing. And aside from kind of the 10-minute intermission with music was like the tiniest glitch, the rest was like an hour and a half like live webinar for our entire community. So every student, every teacher, every administrator, and a whole bunch of parents hopped on too, which is actually really cool. There was a grandma on early, right? So it was great. And when I look at what I am so proud of for our students being able to pull that off, it was not that their test scores were this or that, or they were getting this grade in this class. It was that they were able to put on this entire thing collaboratively, right? The emotional intelligence was just so high. When we look at habits of mind, like being able to be flexible, being able to watch a video and actually like react to it in a genuine like, wow, that was so cool. Did you see that Rubik's Cube getting solved? Yeah. All of those things like tie so well into week 6. And I think, certainly for me, the reason I got into education wasn't to like make sure students get good grades, or, help our school's test scores go from this to that, to get this percentage of students from emerging to proficient on this standardized test. That is not why I became an educator. Those are incredibly important in their own way. And certainly the last 15 years in education in California, there's been an obsession, I think, with those tests and those scores driving what is a good or a bad school. And so I think that this module, these three modules, this whole week, um, will definitely push you in the direction of looking at students in a more holistic way. The very last thing I have for you is, as we talk about social emotional learning, our school has adopted a program. It's different from middle school and lower school. In our lower school, our elementary school, it is called Responsive Classroom. All of our new faculty go to a summer training before they are actually with students on Responsive Classroom. It's a way to manage behaviors, a way to interact with students. So if you know nothing about Responsive Classroom and you are like a kindergarten or in preschool through K-5 educator, Responsive Classroom has great stuff, lots of free resources for you. For middle school, we use Developmental Designs, which is similar, but middle school appropriate. So I think same parent company, Developmental Designs, and then high school, I think they might also use Developmental Designs. That'd be the place to start as far as social emotional learning, and how you would either do like a morning meeting or a morning advisory, and how you could integrate that into your school or into your classroom. So those are good things. Check it out if you've not checked it out. I have talked long enough. Happy week 6. Make sure that you look at your project. Week 6 assignment is assignment 3, the Arts and Movement Project. The directions in the rubric should be pretty straightforward. So just make sure that gets submitted Sunday night. Happy week 6, everybody, and be safe.